Hey everybody, welcome back to Andertons TV. Today is Digital John with me.
Digital John.
And we are shooting out some multi-effects units as voted for by your good selves. That's right. If you subscribe to the Andertons YouTube channel, you will receive notifications around other votes that you can participate in to see other videos that we might shoot in the future. So you were asked to choose the 5 multi-effects pedals from our website, and anything from £100 up to £1,000 was the parameter. The 5 multi-effects processors that you'd like to see shot out. So it was phrased as a kind of a beginner multi-effects unit shootout. I guess once you get up into some of the sort of £500–600 stuff and upwards, it's a bit less beginner and a bit more sort of pro, but that was the general consensus. And you chose 5 units. You chose the Boss GT-1, which is what we're going to start with. You chose, and some more units on the floor. So we've got the HeadRush MX5, the Line 6 Pod Go, the Valeton GP200, and the Mooer GE300.
That's right.
Okay. There are lots of other units in that price bracket on our website, but you didn't choose those. So please subscribe to this channel and then you can participate in future votes across guitars, amps, effects, whatever, and we'll do our best. So John,
yes,
you've had these 5 units for a couple of days, and your brief was what?
Basically, to see how easy it is to get along with them. So with the idea with this video was, as Lee said, like an entry to this whole world of digital kit. And these, some of them are cheaper, so these may be for absolute beginners, even like first rig type things. So I really went in as a novice to, like, you know, how easy is this thing to use. So starting with this one, I believe this is the cheapest. This comes in around 200 quid, £199 at Andertons to be specific. GT-1 by Boss. Boss obviously known for, you know, doing loads of stuff really well. Nice simple kit. Some of it's really entry level and accessible. This is kind of the same, although with this kind of takes a minute to get your head around how it works. So with every multi-effects unit, there's kind of like a whole new mindset you need to apply to it and how to make it work. But with this, it's essentially not a touchscreen, tiny little screen on it that you can then alter with these 3 and this enter and exit button. So here's your signal chain. And you can see it sort of mirrored here. So as you would have a normal preamp, that's on at the minute. That's all you're hearing, but you could bring in delay, for instance. And it's very like hands-on, nice mix of tactile and also minimalism as well. And yeah,
we asked you on each unit to try and create like a Fendery clean sound, a Marshally crunch sound, or an EVH sort of, you know, high gain sound. That obviously, you know, these are not going to be in-depth demos of each unit. We'll try and sort of talk about the sort of the salient sort of main differences, and if any of them have got like special features, we'll mention that. But if you're, you know, I think the idea is just get a flavour, hear what those sounds are, see which one maybe you're thinking, oh, I don't think that's the one for me. And then again, in the links below, if we've done more in-depth videos on these products, you'll find them in the links below. But yes, let's just have a little noodle around. My initial, this is definitely the smallest. Is it the smallest one of 3? Not quite. The MX5 is pretty small, but it's one of the smallest. It's the most old-fashioned looking, I think.
I'd say, yeah.
You know, this screen is not graphically terribly exciting, is it? But look, let's hear that sound. Let's get that nice, clean Fender sound with a bit of reverb and see what we get.
So as Lee said, I have created for all of these like a clean crunch and high gain tone. See a pick for all of these, and here's the clean one.
Every one is plugged direct into our interface. If you want the best sound possible of this, listen to it through some decent speakers or into your headphones. But that's what we're hearing is through a couple of little studio speakers. So can I put reverb and delay on?
Go for it.
On my professionally written notes here, I can see that we've got 27 different amp types, 9 different cabinets, 108 different effects, so a lot, and a built-in looper. On the back, we've got a fairly simplistic set of inputs and outputs. It's all 1/4-inch jack, aux in, headphones, that kind of stuff. And we do have old-fashioned styly USB, which I believe you can use as an audio interface as well.
You can use the Boss Tone Studio to download other people's tones, that sort of thing.
Cool.
So it is a nifty little bit of
Let's
kit.
go crunchy. Apologies for this slight intermission here. The Boss LCD display is one of those, it's pretty old-fashioned. It's kind of easy to see if you kind of look this way, and the more you go this way, the more the contrast goes funny, and our cameras hate this kind of display. So if all you can just see is a white blotch here, apologies, but that is where that's what we're seeing, and that's where the editing is going on.
Yeah, so exit, and that's your sort of gig view, seeing what patch you're on. Patch number 2 then, Marsh. Here we go. Not going to play in G, going to play in A. I think sound quality is all right.
It's okay, I like the Fender one better. I kind of like what you're doing here of starting with the dry amp tone and then adding the effects.
Yeah.
Are we going to do that on all of them, basically?
Yeah,
I like it.
Same thing, add delay and verb in. It's nice, you know, nice width for it. It seems pretty hi-fi, effects-wise.
So I can see here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6. So obviously this will be, of all the ones here, probably the least number of simultaneous effects.
Yeah, it's a pretty simple chain. And again, you can see here that you've got noise suppressor. You can choose effects 1 and 2. You can make them whatever you want. And you can also then control, this is like the control section. You can hook up different pedals if you want more flexibility.
Oh, we have extra pedals, you mean?
Yeah. Here.
I see. Yeah, that Boss do that quite a lot, don't they? Where you can buy like an optional extra foot switch to just expand.
So this could be a brain with other connections and stuff. But at the minute, I've set control 1. What did I set it to do? There we go. Turn on overdrive just into the front end of a Marshall type thing.
You know what? Again, I don't mind it.
That's
I don't
cool.
mind it. Can we move on now to our heaviest setting?
Go. EVH.
Now, again, you could, with any of these units, decide to plug them into a regular guitar amplifier rather than into your computer and a set of monitors. And all you would do is turn off the cabinet simulation. So instead of trying to emulate it going through a guitar, it actually would be going through a guitar. But you just, again, guitar in, one of the leads out into the front of your amplifier. Obviously, you won't get stereo unless you've got 2 amplifiers. But yes, just assume you can do that with any of these as well. Bit plasticky.
Yeah, that's what I would say. That like round the back, it's sort of blue plastic, and I'd be nervous to gig it for a long time, just stamping on it. You know.
It's funny to say that about Boss, though. You wouldn't normally. You would go that isn't normally a seal of reliability.
Yeah,
isn't
they're
it?
built like tanks, little Boss pedals.
So I must admit, I know. I can see from the returns rate, like the failure rate, rather, we get of everything at Andertons, you know, which are the products that are perhaps, you know, not built to be stomped on as much. And we don't get any of these back. So I think the fact that it's a bit plasticky probably isn't a big problem. I guess if it's used, you know, it's probably designed to be used at home, right?
Yeah, slap it on a desk, get a few sounds in, record them.
We did think it was a bit of a kicking the old ribs, that the Boss charge extra for the power supply on the GT1. You just get it with a set of batteries, right?
And you turn it on by putting something in the input jack. So that's how it turns on.
So there's not even an off.
I was trying to find the switch for ages, and I was like, oh, that's how it turns on.
Well, okay. That, ladies and gentlemen, is your GT1. Links below if you would like to find out more or maybe buy one of those. Should we stay in price order?
Let's do it, yeah.
Okay, so that means our next contender is the Valeton GP200. Okay, so the Valeton GP200, which, again, if you want to see a more in-depth video, check below. But the the headlines here are 70 amps, 70 cabs. Now we're into the realms of being able to load your own IRs in if you want to. 240 effects, looper, drum machine, all for the princely sum of £259. Yeah. So, Mr. John, tell us about your fender patch and how you edited that.
So, same sort of idea. If we go into it by clicking this knob, this is a kind of a different setup. It's a lot more intuitive than the GT1, in my opinion, I think. This is like your joystick, click it in, and then you've got, some hands-on controls for settings and stuff. But really, this is how you get around. Went in, found the amp block, clicked it and found Dark DLX. You can guess what that's based on.
Maybe you can't.
Yeah,
so
maybe you can't.
It would be a Blackface Fender Deluxe, I suspect.
Yes. And then it came with a matching cab, Dark Lux.
Cool.
How about that?
Yeah.
And here's how that sounds.
That sounds to me like you've got a smidgen more gain in the preamp section than you had before. Is that something that's easy to change?
Well, that's not a problem, thanks to these hands-on dials that I can just dial back.
It's just, I love it when these videos sound so rehearsed, just because I know that they're not. Sorry, you were on, you did it from here, yeah, because you don't even have to, that's right, that's the beauty of this, isn't it? You don't actually have to go into the parameters to do those sort of basic top line.
That's right.
Sorry, so go on, let's have a little play now. That is a little cleaner. I do agree. It might turn the volume up a little bit here. Of course, no Fender amp would be complete without lashings of reverb. So, I see. So you've assigned, now that's right. If you go and watch the overview video here, you'll see these bottom four switches here can be assigned to turn stomp pedals on and off, and you've just assigned D to be the reverb.
Contrasting to the GT1, we've got way more flexibility now in terms of foot switches. So the bottom ones are these controls. So if I just back up, you can see on this sort of performance plane view, you've got control 1, 2, 3, 4. And on that, I assigned a reverb. Do you want to go into that?
I think go and watch the overview if you want to see a bit more in depth. Let's just hear them.
So here we go. On this, I've got a plate reverb. This would be a good opportunity to show you how nice the tuner is on this.
I'm trying to sort of think, what did I think the difference in sound between this and the GT1 was? I sort of feel the amp sounds a bit more Fendery, the reverb sounds about the same. Yeah,
I think the Boss, when you look at it, you'll think it won't sound as good as it does. The Boss does sound alright, I think, for the price.
That's a really good way of summing it up. The Boss looks worse than it is.
You you hear with your eyes with quite a lot of these.
Yes.
And this is a really nice UI, I think, for the price especially. And it sounds good, so it sort of reaffirms that.
And we can have a bit of delay, I think. Was that C? Was the delay, wasn't it?
So that, I'm pretty sure I went analog delay. What did I go for? Analog.
Digital John went analog delay.
Analog delay.
What happened there?
Going over to the dark side. Yeah.
nothing wrong with that, right?
Feels cool.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Right, so preset 2, or your second challenge, was to go slightly martially. So what have we got there then?
Similarly, the old Marsh. So I was really boring with the names. I'll be a bit more entertaining next time.
Yeah.
Kim Marsh. So this, I believe, is a plexi style.
You've gunned it as well, haven't you? You've not gone
yeah.
for any level of subtlety here.
It's called UK 50JP, which is probably the closest I could get. But it's got that like flubby low-end Marshall. So let's just open that up again. So gains around 40. Let's bring it back. Let's go like 20. Go through the pages. Do you want to bring the bass back? Here we go.
Easy, man. I like it.
It's got a nice
again,
broad
just,
range.
Reverb, if we want it, yeah. What were your other
That's a screamer.
Modulation. Oh, and so we can dump a distortion pedal in front of it.
That's
I like
it.
And finalement, the high gain, the heavy gain one.
Back, EVH. Like, definitely captures the essence of it.
It does.
Yeah.
Okay, so that, ladies and gents, is the GP200. The selection of ins and outs on the back is much more professional than you would perhaps think you might get at this price. So again, we've got the same idea as on the Boss, where you can add additional pedals in. Could be a second expression pedal or some other foot switches. Input, auxiliary in, you've got an effects loop on here. Stereo left and right out on both jacks and XLRs, ground lift, MIDI, headphones, USB-C. What?
And it's built really well.
Yeah. Do you know what? I feel the exact opposite about this as I do about the
GT-1.
As in, GT-1 doesn't look that great, but actually sounds good. This actually looks like it's a pro unit, and then the price would suggest it isn't.
I was saying before, the font has a whiff of Axe Effects about it as well, so that fooled me instantly. Maybe I'm just biased.
I think it's Podgo inspired. All these
definitely
different
Podgo inspired
rings and stuff. So
we'll get to that in a second. Yeah.
Yes, GP200. I like it. It's a good contender so far. What do you think? Right, shall we move on to the next one? So this was $259, and our next one in the list.
HeadRush, right?
Is it HeadRush at $399? It could be. No, it's going to be. I'm going to put the Pod Go up next because the Pod Go, ladies and gentlemen, has actually got two versions of this. We've got the wireless one.
Yeah.
Although we're actually not going to be demonstrating it wirelessly. No. So imagine the same unit, but without this bit here, and without this gigantic hole for your transmitter to go in the back here. The normal Pod Go is just the same as this. Plug your guitar in, plug your speakers in, off you go. The wireless, and that, is $379. If you want to go wireless, so you can dispense with this cable, although you do still need these two cables here. You still need to plug it into something, but you don't need to plug your guitar into it. That's not a lot extra. It's only $399.
No.
So we've jumped up here about 130 pounds, something like that. So plug this in. See you back in a mo. Okay. So apology, I've left the little film over the display. Hopefully you can still see it. The headlines here are 87 amp models with, again, IRs that you can load in. 219 effects, looper, again a good selection of ins and outs, which we'll get to at the end. Metal, chunky, I like it. Again, so we've got a Fender sound. Now I've got to be honest with you, one of my favorite features of all Line 6 stuff is the user interface. I think they get it jolly good. And what I'm going to do is might as well do it now, right? So we're on, we're in at the moment, it's sort of bank mode. So you can see A, B, C, D, load up different presets, and these two go up and down through the banks. What I really like though is this mode. So where those 6 nicely colored blocks on here, chorus, echo, plate, screamer, simple EQ, mono, effects loop, they then coincide with here. So it really does start to feel like I've got a sort of a simple pedal board, or not even simple, like a good pedal board at my feet. So Monsieur Jean, let's have a little listen though to what the Fender-y sound is.
Here we go. Rookie error. 2 volume knobs, man. Can't get used to it.
Les Paul, it's new. Same sort of idea in that I can very quickly see gain, tone and level here for the amplifier I've assigned to these 3 knobs. That's done sort of automatically. So same as on the Valeton, where I'm just going to back the gain down a little bit. I wonder if you did these presets with a less hot guitar.
Yeah, I did actually, yeah.
But anyway, so I've just dropped the gain a tiny bit and taken the level up a little bit just to compensate. But yeah, that's all right. I mean, sounds a bit more middly and a bit more flat sounding than the Valeton on that particular patch.
I think it feels like the bandwidth's not as wide for me. Like there's not as low lows or as high highs.
Let's put some reverb in. Everything's better with reverb, right?
Yeah, feels better.
A bit of echo.
Analog again.
Yeah. That's good, isn't it?
It's pleasant.
It's good. I kind of feel, I don't know if there's, whether or not on the, I'm not going to bother now, but I assume obviously on the amplifier we could have EQ'd it slightly different, pulled a little bit of that mid-range out, and maybe tried to get it to sound a bit more scoopy. But should we go to Marsh?
Marsh, here we go. Same flubby low end thing, but that's, you know, that's part of it.
I kind of feel the same on, there's something, like the Valeton had this quite easy to listen to
scoop to it,
scoopy sound, which maybe doesn't work in a mix so well, but in isolation is always slightly more pleasant to listen to. Whereas the Pod Go seems to almost have the reverse of that, almost like a sort of an accentuated mid-range, which is making it sound for me a bit less pleasant to listen to, but maybe in a mix.
I can't, in a weird way, I sort of like it, but it may not be everyone's thing. Yeah, I like mid-range, I guess. But
well,
do you want to try Screamer?
Absolutely.
In the front end?
Yes. It's got that nice kind of going into feedback kind of vibe to it, hasn't it? So. I mean, I'm as soon as I'm trying to take a little bit of the mid-range out there, it's absolutely, for me anyway, kind of nicer to listen to in isolation. So, yeah, take back everything I said about maybe it being a bit too mid-rangey. That's just a simple EQ setting thing. Shall we go to the highest gain one?
Yeah, cool. Yeah. EVH again.
That absolutely I can hear that sag of just sort of that valvey spongeness thing happening there. I like that. I like that. So let's just... Oh, we've still got the screamer in. That might be possibly why. Okay, go on.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, okay, fine. That sounds good, actually, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
One other feature.
Go on, sum up. What's your sort of... Yeah, go on.
The nice feature of this is that you do have snapshot modes as well, and it's super easy to just flick between them like that. I do like the UI of Line 6. They've done it so long, I think they've just figured out what's easy and what people like. And yeah, like there's a nice amount of hands-on tactileness with this. It's very similar to the previous one, but...
USB works as an audio interface as well. I think we can basically all do that, can't we? I mean, I like again how they've done this with the sort of recessed kind of top panel here, so that your feet aren't going to kick any of these controls. And as you say, Line 6 have got massive heritage in the sort of multi-effects world. They almost invented it back in the days of the pod. So, fine. Nothing else to really tell you about this. Let's move on to... Oh, and I should say again, absolutely, we've got in-depth demos of the Pod Go if you go and look the links below. So at much the same price, and actually, pretty sure we did this versus this as its own video, didn't we?
Yeah.
One of the first videos you ever did with us. But yes, we shall plug in the HeadRush MX5. MX5, nice and compact. It is the only touchscreen unit. Is the Mooer definitely not touchscreen?
The Mooer's not, no.
Okay, so HeadRush, that's their thing. This is the smallest of 3 or 4 different HeadRush units that they make, and they're all touchscreen, and very much makes a difference to how simple it is to use. This has 50 amps, 15 cabs. We're into the worlds of microphones now, so you've got 10 different microphones you can use to decide how you want your amp to sound. Hundreds and hundreds of IRs that you can load in, 65 effects, and again, a reasonable selection of ins and outs on the back. So it has got the effects loop, MIDI, USB stuff as well. So it's deceptively professional.
Yeah.
In a Diddy box, this one. It's the same kind of dough as the Line 6 Pod Go. And as I say, if you look in the links below, we did a sort of a more in-depth shootout of this versus the Pod Go earlier in the year and liked it very much. So again, same as before, John, you've got a Fender, a Marshall and a EVH Vibe setting in it.
Similar.
Do you want to sort of take us through how you got those and what you liked about this?
Yeah, so as Lee said, this is the only one with a touchscreen. So you've got a nice mix. This is similar to the Valeton because you've got a joystick style dial that you can click in, click out, but instead of, you can either choose to scroll like that or touch, and it's very intuitive in that way. If you just want to I want to change that, you can do it, which is really frustrating with modelers that don't sometimes. So yeah, 64 Fender style amp with a matching cab.
I guess, I don't know if you can see this or not, but again, you can see the same kind of idea. So an illuminated effects means it's on,
Yeah.
and then when it's sort of dark and not illuminated, it's off. But yes, who doesn't like a touchscreen? Anybody who, you know, has had a smartphone for the last 10 years is probably going to find that this is very intuitive to use. So, okay, let's have a little listen. May I turn the compressor off, please, Mr. John?
Yes.
Because I'm sitting here thinking, that's a really tight, compressed sounding guitar amp, and then I realised you had a compressor on.
Yeah.
So let's have this.
Yeah, it's a lot more open in it.
I think that's my favourite sounding Fender yet.
Yeah, I think the sounds in this are amazing. Like, you sort of think it won't be as hi-fi as it is just because of the size and stuff, but really is great.
Yeah, okay. I mean, obviously you put the compressor on your preset and you've got delays and stuff, so you can have all kinds of stuff on there if you really want to.
I like a bit of compression on clean.
We didn't really do this on the other Fender ones, but of course you can dump in a overdrive pedal in the front, you know, sort of.
I'm losing the ability to play now, but yeah, yeah.
I think we said, didn't we, looper. They've all. I kind of have they all got loopers? I think they ended up all having loopers, didn't they? I wrote it down as a feature and then realised that they all had it, so it wasn't too. But yeah, really, really cool. Let's move on to the Marshall.
Yeah.
I guess if we're going to be critical about the HeadRush, and we can be critical of, is it a criticism? There's a sort of a genre of these cut down multi effects units that just give you a lot less switches on this. I'm thinking Hotone's Ampero 1, the little Helix Stomp, yes, there's a little Mooer, all that kind of stuff. There's the Boss GT Core. Anyway. And the idea is they take the processing power and all the functionality of the bigger brother, more expensive units, and then they give it to you in a more affordable package like this. But you sacrifice this idea of, you know, having tons of switches at your feet. So what you have to get your head around on these sort of units where they do a lot less switches is usually there's lots of, you know, press these two buttons together, or it'll do different things in different modes. Fundamentally on the HeadRush here, it's still fairly easy to use. You have this concept of scenes. So there's the scenes now, the idea is we're in the same patch, but we've got three different selections of pedals on and off, and that's up to you to decide what you want to do. Or we've got this idea of rigs. So again, now we're going from patch 1, our Fender rig, to patch 2 to patch 3, you know, and again, you can assign those whatever you want to do. Or you've got this idea of hybrid, where again, you can have previous rig and next rig, and then just one scene that you can switch in and out. And what was the other mode though? Oh, that's right. And then just for fun and games here, you've got this idea of both together will start to, you know, go up through the different rigs. Heavens above. So you can still do quite a lot here. Hold this button down, your tuner comes on. Hold this button down, your looper comes on. So let's listen to that Marshall sound. You're taking the compressor off again.
Yeah. Oh, come on. Oh, there we go. Nice bit of fizz on it.
Yeah. That sounds more old school Marshall to me.
Yeah.
A little bit less sort of JCM 800. I wonder what you have actually. Which one did you go for?
Yep.
You went with the plexiglass. Yes, I like it. And again, we can dump other stuff over the top of that. I mean, it's like Tube Screamer into a plexi is like sound of a generation, isn't it?
Here we go.
It does sound really good. Really good. Bit of compression. I put some chorus in there as well at the end. Okay, and then finally, the heaviest one. Again, I'll take the compression off and the delay off, actually. And we'll have a listen to your EVH.
Sizzling EVH. Yeah, it's cool.
It does sound good. It does sound good. I think you get the general idea, don't you? I mean, by the way, if you're wondering what are these white boxes with the little plus sign in, they're your vacant effects blocks. So you could, if you wanted to, have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 different things all lined up if you wanted to.
A nice little feature of the HeadRush as well, if you go on that little icon, you can change the signal flow, and it's like nice little templates.
Oh, of like different splits, so you can have
routing.
like 2 dual amp rigs, one side, one the other. Ah, cool.
Which is like if you're starting out and you think, how am I going to route a setup like that? That's a nice little feature.
I think the thing to remember with HeadRush, the MX5, sorry, is this is actually like a much more, you know, the guts of this is a much more expensive unit, isn't it? Whereas I think on things like the GT-1 and the Valeton and even the Pod Go, you know, they are the sort of the units in their own right with their own operating systems and stuff. Whereas, as I said, this is the operating system from a more expensive unit, just in a smaller box. So HeadRush, really like that.
Yes.
Okay, finally, the final countdown. Now, I've got to be honest with you, I've never plugged this in. I'm pretty sure, did we ever do this, Pete?
It's like a spaceship, this thing.
Yeah, I think we did.
He thinks we did. Well, if we did, there'll be a link below to where we did the video. The GE300. I was a little surprised that this got voted for by you. This is 600 quid. It's Mooer's top of the range multi-effects unit. It's got some crazy features in it around tone capture and is it synth capture or something?
Yeah.
This is sort of getting into that realm of
spaceship
profiling. You know, where you can you can play a guitar amp sound into this. And it kind of goes, oh, right, you want me to sound like that, do you?
Yeah.
And it's like, whoa, freaky stuff, okay? So I don't know how deep we'll get into this. Again, there's a lot to show you on this, so you're probably better off checking the links below for a more in-depth one. Our overall comparison, again, is 108 different amps, 43 cabs, IRs, 164 effects, loopers, the whole 9 yards. And as you can see, lots more switches than the other models. Big display, lots of ins and outs. In fact, crazy amounts of ins and outs, which we'll have a little look through in a minute.
Yeah.
This little bit along here has got a touch of the Valeton to it, hasn't it? These sort of quick access, which is interesting as Valeton was started by people, I think, who used to work at Mooer. So who knows?
Really nice feature. Yeah.
Go on.
So if you click it, it takes you to the page of parameters, and similar to most of these with the hands-on, each of these correspond 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to these. You've got nice reassuring clicks, so it feels like a quality product. And then if you want to just go back to your main view, you've got display as well.
And these are telling you what these are going to do, right? So that's, oh no, it's not. Okay, and I guess like before, you've got 8 blocks here, which correspond to these 8 pedals here, right? So yeah, so that's really interesting. So you've got some are actually, oh, I see. So the top row you've got assigned to turn effects on and off.
Yeah.
And the bottom row is more presets.
Yeah.
I see. And is that all completely assignable? So you can kind of almost do whatever you want to do?
I believe so, yeah. It made sense for me, because if you go up, you've got another bank of 4, but you've got your bank along the bottom as well.
Aggressive flashing lights are going, choose a patch!
And the colours on this are really vivid, and you can customise colours and stuff like that, which is nice.
Wow. Okay, let's hear the Fender.
Cool. Feels nice.
Feels nice, doesn't it? I mean, I think all 5 have kind of done that basic clean sound in a very pleasant way. Yeah. If I had to go, which one actually reminds me of sounding like a Fender amplifier the most, as opposed to which was the nicest clean sound?
Because I HeadRush.
I think I'm going to go HeadRush again. But hey, I do this whole easy, quick, go straight to the delay. I like a lot, which again, I liked a lot on the Valeton as well. It's funny, isn't it? I almost feel like, I know we said we thought the Valeton was maybe a Pod-Go derivative, inspired by, I sort of feel it's got a bit of this about it as well. Right, let's go back to our display mode. That's right. If we want to go to the Marshall, is that just what you've done at 64B? Sounds like a Marshall. I mean, and again, we can put some reverb on, we can put some delay on.
Yeah. There's cool little natural things that happen with some of the notes, which I like. Yeah.
I think that sounds good. Back to display mode, and then presumably EVH is here. Okay, let's have a listen. So that's your 3 basic sounds. They're all good sounding, but it didn't necessarily sound, better than the HeadRush. And if anything, I perhaps thought maybe the HeadRush was slightly more natural sounding. But of course, this has got more knobs and buttons on it. And the main thing it's got, and I don't know if we're not going to be able to demonstrate the tone capture side of things, so hopefully you can just talk about that.
Yeah.
And the synthy thing, maybe we can demo a bit of that. But that was really with the G300. It was those 2 features was what really separated it from all the other effects units out there.
Yeah. So I'd say if this is worth more cash. So I think this is kind of if you want a modeler that you've got a bit of future proofing out of. If you want to do that extra stuff instead of buying something like a Helix that has the tone capture. So in terms of the synth, for those of you who know synthesis, it's about sort of choosing your waveform, changing the pitch, the attack, the volume envelope, all that sort of stuff. And if you go into the synth page, you've got that. So you've got your waveform. So here we're going through a triangle wave. We've got pitch set to the synth of that. You've got the attack 50, so medium attack, levels 25. And this is blended with a guitar signal as well. So you can hear that ethereal synth, I guess, on the top. So. fun. So
do you know what? I do get it. I mean, I know people who follow this channel a lot will know that I'm a bit of a digital dullard, and I'm not a big fan of those kind of Meris style synthy pedals with arpeggiators and all that kind of stuff in. Because, you know, I guess it's just a very different musical experience to sort of go down that route than it is to just find an amp and put a tube screamer in front of it and go, off we go. But in fairness, I'm beginning to sort of feel like I can see where Mooer are going with this. It's like, do you just want everything? Here you are. And the synth thing presumably then has got loads of different waveforms, and one can do all kinds of synthy pad and sounds. So I guess you're sort of going, you know, if those Boss SY kind of pedals had intrigued you, and you're into some of that sort of oscillated Merisy kind of vibe, I guess you're going to have some fun with this.
Yeah.
Before we conclude, no, go on.
I was going to say, it integrates that synth as like a pedal.
Right.
So, as you could tell, the guitar is there anyway.
Yeah.
So, it's not like a synth pedal unit like some of the Boss units are, where it's dedicated. It's sort of, it's like a flavour within your chain.
Okay. The tone capture thing, is there a sort of a more technical explanation of that, other than just, because my understanding of it was that it doesn't profile an amp in the way that a Kemper does. I thought the idea was that you found a basic amp sound that was similar to what you wanted, and then you literally played a piece of like your favorite guitar solo or whatever into it, and it kind of goes, oh right, that's how you want me to adjust it. Am I sort of roughly right?
That's what I believe it is. Yeah, because it's like almost like a snapshot of something you're putting into it, as opposed to capturing a rig that exists.
So if you so if you just want to sound like Angus Young, you'd find your Malcolm Young, you'd set up a sort of a Marshall patch that got you in the ballpark, and then you'd literally get your iPhone or whatever, go to Back in Black and literally play Back in Black into this, and it kind of goes, all right, is that what you want me to do? Now, do go and watch other videos on that. I do vaguely remember Mooer do like a standalone version of that tone capture unit, and there's plenty of good videos around that that show you how it does. But look, I think we should move on to the conclusion.
Yeah.
And we have not yet agreed on our conclusions. So do you know what? You go first and I'll go second. But I think what you want to do is, which one would you have if money was no option? And which one would you have if money was an option? Or what, it's, what I mean. if you had to sort of go, I need to watch my outgoings, like we all do right now.
I think if money was no option, I would probably go for this, because it's got the most headroom of what I could potentially want with all the tone capture and the synth stuff. I like synth stuff. I don't think it's cheesy. I kind of like it. But the Valeton is so much for the cash. It's a no-brainer, and it feels great. It doesn't feel like there's expenses spared. And if you then told the price after using it, you'd think it would be worth more. Yeah. So probably. So you're going, this is the one if money's no object, G300. Yeah. And the Valeton is your sort of, as overall,
it's value for money taken into account. I'm going to almost agree with you. My favourite one was the HeadRush. I do think they nailed the sounds, and it's super easy to use because of the touchscreen thing. So that's my favourite one. Yeah. But I agree with you. Kind of like, for £250, drum machine, looper. I mean, that's what I...
All the routing, yeah.
Yeah, I do kind of think that it is bonkers. Even these little switches, that to me says that someone at Valeton has gone, I need to solve the problem of... Do you know what, though? And just as I've realised, Mooer have got slight... In fact, this is brilliant. Look, Mooer have kind of gone, yeah, I get it. We need a slightly taller switch at the back than we have at the front.
Yeah.
And Valeton have gone, no. You need a much taller switch at the back. So the next one's kind of coming. It's going to be a switch, like a stiletto heel or something. So yeah, I'm just like the pair you're wearing, Pete. So yeah, I got to say, so wow. I mean, I was halfway through, sort of going, just think how quickly you get to £250 just buying normal effects pedals.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
with
you're like
a distortion pedal. Yeah.
You don't even get like, yeah, exactly. Even if you're buying reasonably affordable effects pedals, you don't get to like more than 4 or 5 before you've hit this price point. And you've got tons of stuff in here. So they're well done, Valeton, for John and I both agreeing that we liked yours. None of them sounded bad, did they?
No, not at all.
It's not like the olden days of digital where everything sounded awful. It's like nowadays almost nothing sounds bad. So
yeah, it's just what you want to like apply it for. Yeah, stuff like that.
So there you go. If you stuck to the end, well done. And remember, please like and subscribe. Subscribe especially because that's when you'll find out about what other votes we're doing. Oh yeah, I keep forgetting to say, look, I haven't said this for months, but look, when we get to 1 million subscribers, someone's going to win an actual Klon Centaur, which if you're into all this digital gear, you'll probably just sell to buy more digital gear. But it is worth about £4,000, so that's a good prize. But yes, please do, and then and get involved with our voting. I know we've got a semi-hollow shootout coming up soon, as voted for by you. We're going to have all sorts of amp and guitar and pedal shootouts coming up in the future. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, John, for driving all the way down, and we shall see you next time.